everyone, welcome back. Here's Steinar with me now. So we are going to teach you a combination for around level 3. Remember, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments section because we're going to work together with you, teaching you both roles, teaching the step, and then we'll have like a short break, 2 or 3 songs, where you can try it yourselves and ask us questions, and then we'll come back and try and respond to your questions. So don't be afraid to ask anything that you're wondering about, okay?
So this combination starts out at level 3 and maybe goes a little bit higher. So if you're just starting out, it might be a little bit difficult, but you're welcome to try the challenge. In any case, here we go. We're going to do a turn. Looks like this.
And then we'll start again. Okay, yeah, one more time, we'll just show it. Maybe we'll try and do an embellishment as well. Hello, and finish. All right, so, you want to start?
So, let's start by breaking the step up a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll start with the first turn, which is a normal giro for the follower with sacadas. And I'm doing all the sacadas with my left leg, and then I'm changing my weight after every one. So first we have to get into a position where we can do a sacada. So we're going to use just a parallel step on the outside with the right.
So the follower's on her right leg.
Stepping with the left. Back and side. So here we open up the position. If we're in a close embrace, we're going to open up slightly here so that we have space for the next sacada. Here, forward step. We step in towards the back foot. Pivot together. I change my weight. Now the follower has the side step. Again, I step towards the leg she's leaving. Pivot together. Change my weight. So we're just going to do that to begin with. So it looks like this. And then you can start again. So if you're just starting out, this is going to be difficult enough. For those of you who have done some sacadas, you can continue also with the next part. But let's see a few key points. Like we said in the sacadas, it's important that I step towards the back leg, the leg that she's leaving, because I want to take her space. So it's also important that she takes a good sized step and actually moves her weight.
Yeah, so remember what we did in the technique class? I really want to push on my back foot and bring my weight forward.
Also, she does not want to collect early the leg because then there's no space for the sacada. So I go towards the back side, not towards the front, because then we crash. Sacada, we pivot together. So we're facing each other. So again, I'm trying to place my hips where her hips used to be. So I'm taking the space of her hips. And on the last one, I'm going to pivot a little bit extra so that we're on a line. This is going to be important for the next part of the step.
Yeah.
Should we... Do you want to say something?
I'm going to say something. So, here. So again, like he said, I need to take a big enough step and really push off from the back foot. And then I have to be very careful to, after we take the step, I have to collect with my feet together before I go to the next step, right? That's really important. And to not accelerate the movement without my partner. Same thing here. He leads the step, and then we pivot together. There, I did a little bit by myself. Don't do that. So, but the idea is that the leader has to lead every part of the step, ideally, right? So he wants to lead the projection of this step and really control my transfer of weight. So he knows exactly where I'm going to be, so he knows when he can also step. Yeah?
On the last part, I'm just adding a little bit of extra rotation. We can actually do the leader steps now. Followers, if you want to try, it's also a good exercise. So, I'm going to start by taking a step with the right on the outside. She's on my right. Leading her into an open side step in the same line. Then I prepare for the sakala, and I have to lead her to create the space for the sakala. We do a pivot a little bit more than 90 degrees, change our weight, and we go again with the left on her side step. And here I add a little bit of extra rotation so that I'm on her side. So let's do it a little bit faster, a couple of times. So first side step, step in, and a little bit extra rotation at the end. One more time. Sakala, change, sakala, extra rotation. Okay?
Good. Okay, so the follower, I'm doing this. I'm starting on my right foot. He leads me back. And instead of taking a square side step like this, I'm going to take a slightly diagonal side step, which he also is leading. Then from there, I go directly into my front step. Front, rotate, collect, extend the leg, transfer the weight, rotate. Here I'm rotating my upper body first, and then pivoting around, and then extending. Again, I'll change directions maybe. So I'm going to start again on my right leg, take a back step, side step, forward, rotate, side, rotate, and then go back. Okay? Should we do it one more time? Let's do it one more time. So I got my right foot, back, side. Here's my partner. Step, rotate, and then we're going to go back. Good.
Very good. Notice how she collected after each step. It's not important to spend a lot of time in the collected position, but it is important that you do pass through the center before you move on to the next step. Because especially if there's a sakala coming in and you bring the leg out too much, it's going to make your entire movement much heavier and the pivot is going to be harder. So let's try now, everyone, with your partner or on your own. We're just going to do this part of the step a couple of times. So join us and open, sakala, sakala, boom, again, sakala, sakala, boom. Now we need a little bit more space. It does move a little bit. Two more times.
I'm just going to say one thing about the embrace because we didn't talk about that just yet. So what we always try and use is that we want to feel that we're connected on both sides of the embrace. So I feel that his hand is on my shoulder blade there, and he is lifting his elbow, and I am connected with him. Yes, this doesn't mean that my arms are stiff or locked, but it does mean that I'm using my back to hold my arms, and if he lifts up with his elbow, I slightly push down so that there's a connection. Yes.
So this position should remain the same, the height of the elbows. If I push up and she gives in, that's wrong. She's not giving me the resistance I need. If I push up, I want resistance. But if I relax, I want her to relax too. Or do the opposite, because if she makes her hand or her arm heavy when I relax,
Then
she's
I'm
gonna
pushing him in like this, which we
lock
don't
my
want.
arm. We can at the same time slide in and out at any time. To do these sakadas that we're doing, at least if you want to do them in a turn and do them big, you need to open up the embrace a little bit. You can do some sakadas in the close embrace, but for this turn it's more comfortable, at least if you do a half open embrace.
Yeah. And then this arm, just like I talked about before, you want the elbows down and sort of heavy, right? There's a connection with our palms. We're both holding our arms from our back, but our elbows don't want to be too close to our sides because then it's very difficult to hold your back, really,
And we
or to
also
feel
don't-
those muscles.
We also don't want to lift it too much and connect it to the shoulder here. We want the elbow to feel heavy without collapsing here.
Okay, so we'll show just this part again. Back, side, forward, side, and pivot again. Good. You want to show the next part? I think we have a
Yeah.
couple questions. Yeah, so you can show the next part and then I'll see what.
Okay, so the next part is the lapis that you practiced with Cyrena earlier if you were in the technique class. When she's on my side, I can start the lapis, collect, then do the rotation opposite of the knee, pivot, and the next, just like when you did several lapises, the next position is actually the parada. So by practicing these, you're also practicing your parada. Okay? So after we do sakara, sakara around, we do the lapis to the parada. Then she steps over as I change my weight. We lead the bolero for the followers and then we finish. So let's do the later steps. Actually, Cyrena, let's show it, the whole sequence, and then we'll do So we do sakara, second sakara, remember you want to be hips side by side, and I change my weight, because we're side by side, I can now do the lapis, leading the way for her steps. So she's doing back, side, notice my foot is just slightly in front of hers, front, and then as she goes forward, I collect, and we do the pivot, parada together, at the same time. She steps over, front boleo, and we finish. Again. Lapis. Now we pivot together, and as she steps over, I'm going to actually do a half sakala here. Because as she steps over, my foot is close to her back leg. So when I transfer my weight, I'm sort of doing a sakala that gives more energy to her pivot. And by following that through a little bit, I can create a bolero. Again. So here I go around her, around, and finish.
So I'll show a little bit for the followers, and he's just going to check some questions. Okay, so I'll start from the beginning again. I'm on my right foot. I go back, side, then I'm going forward, collect, side, collect, and then I'm going to go back, side, front. So back, side, forward. This is where he's doing the parada. I'm always leading with my upper body, and then here I'm going to let the leg just sort of do a planeo and hang around. Then I step over his foot, and this is where I'm going to do the boleo that we practiced in the last class. So I take a step. Remember, I want to finish the pivot, brush the leg, and then it comes down. So I'll try and show you in a different angle, so maybe you can see it differently. So I'm going to have my weight on the right foot. I go back, side. Forward, rotate with upper body, then the hips come around. In the side, it's a little tricky, but I want to first rotate with upper body and then the hips. Then I go back, remember to collect and pass through, side, forward, and this is going to be the parada. So I'm going to leave the leg out to the side. Then I step up and over, this is the stepping over his foot, and here comes the voleo. I lead with upper body, voleo, and then I pivot around. So again, the voleo comes from, I'm stepping with my right foot. So again, he's leading me first with my upper body, and then he stops me here, which creates a voleo, and then it comes down and unravels. Good.
So we have a couple of questions, which is great. Leave your questions in the comments if you have any. We had two questions that were similar. How do we know when we're supposed to open the embrace as a follower? And also, how can you lead this weight transfer? It's actually a little bit similar. I need to create an energy that moves away from me, and then I release the embrace at the same time.
So we can show you in the close embrace.
So in this step, I'm already, from this transfer of my weight through my chest, through my whole body, I'm giving enough energy to send her a little bit further than myself. At the same time, as soon as we separate a little bit in our upper bodies, when we're close together, we have energy that goes inward, in towards our partner. When we open, the energy is more outwards. So I have connection with her back through my arm here. So the second I send her away from me, I have more control over her back. Which means, if we put all this together, I give a little bit of extra push in this step, and I open this side to give her space, and I also let her slide in this arm. So I open both sides as I give her energy. That creates the second step. It can be, depending on the direction you want, you can send it directly to the side. You can do it diagonal, or you can do it in one line if you add a little bit of extra pivot to her step. That's a little bit more advanced.
Yeah. So something that's important for the follower when you're moving from close to open embrace is the sliding of the arm. And this is why, so we talked about a little bit of this connection, but let's say I'm in the close embrace, okay? My arm is around my partner's back. We're connected here, but it's connected, but it's not stuck. Because at any moment, I want to be able to slide along his back and along his arm. And then, usually when he gives me the energy to open, he will stop me and I'll feel sort of a limit on my back from his hand. So I feel like even if I wanted to go back, I couldn't because it's stuck. He's actually blocked me from opening too much. But it's important as a follower that, you know, if you're here, or let's say you're here, you don't want to get so stuck that the leader can never move the embrace, because then that limits the dance, right? So I'm here, I'm in a close embrace, I feel an opening, and I let it slide. Okay, that's quite important.
And really, it's important to understand that she's not pulling her arm back, because that is disconnecting this side of the embrace. We have contact here, and she is moving her whole body back. The arm is connected to her body, so if she walks backward, we're going to slide apart. If we walk closer, but we stay connected, which also means that if I push up, she pushes down. That creates a hook in the elbow. So I can actually open, boom, and I can stop her here with pushing up and she pushes down. It creates friction and stop. So sometimes it's not even the most important, my hand, but this connection. This hand obviously helps, but you want connection through this arm at all times. So don't start pulling the arm back, or as a follower, pushing here. Also, if you go down here and push from the side, you're really limiting the leader's mobility. It's not very comfortable. So I like to think that the follower should be in the line of this arm, and you can continue through the upper back, but we should always have this connection.
Okay, good. So that's a little bit about the upper body and the connection and stuff.
So we'll show the whole step again. You can do it along with us. Then we'll give you a short break, a couple of songs to try it out. And if you have more questions, we'll do a little wrap up at the end. Okay? So you can start now with the close embrace. On the left side for the leaders, right for the followers. I step outside and I give her a little bit of energy to open. Saka. Saka. All the way around. Lapis, lapis, lapis. Parada. Here, it's important to do this front boleo that I have to bring her all the way around and a little bit extra. Really, she needs all the rotation, and then I need to wait. Because if I return too soon, her leg is going to get stuck in the rotation. So leaders, in the back boleo, sometimes we lead the opposite direction at an earlier point. In the front boleo, you have to wait a little bit longer. So again here, I use my step, my lead, everything to give her energy around. I wait until the leg is down and then I bring her back. Okay, full sequence, last time. Saka, saka, lapis, boleo, and if you wanted to, leaders, you could do a front boleo at the same time. For the most advanced students out
Do you
there.
want to do this so I can show? Also, in this parlada, you can do, followers, you can do, let's say, 2 different things right now, so we don't get too confused. Where are we? So yeah, if he's leading into the parlada, I can either let the leg hang out, or I can do this circle. Yeah? Now let's have you try the combination. We'll put on 2 or 3 songs, and then if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, we'll read them, and then we'll come back and answer them. Okay? Hi, okay, so we hope you've had a chance to practice a little bit. We had a couple of questions, so we'll answer those. So one question was for the follower. When I'm doing the boleo, sometimes the left hip will drop. So if I'm doing a boleo this way, how not to let the left hip drop. So what's important about front boleos in general is that remember you really want to bend the standing leg. If I keep the leg too straight, then I have to use different parts of my body to create the boleo and it becomes quite stiff. So I want to remember to bend the standing leg and really cross the leg over as much as I can before I lift it up. If I can do that together, I should be able to keep the hips somewhat stable. Also, I think it helps to continue to lift through your center so that you don't collapse, because if you collapse, then you start doing all sorts of weird things as well with your body. So again, if I show you with the partner, I take a step, I want to complete the pivot, bend the standing leg, and then lift the foot. Yeah?
Okay?
Good.
So remember, bend the knee and cross the knee.
Cross over.
If the knee doesn't get over, it's very easy to get this angle in the hip.
Yeah.
So pulling this knee into place straightens also a little bit the hips.
Good.
We had one more question from a leader. Olga was wondering the lead after the parada. So, like I said in the class yesterday, before I lead anything, I have to make sure that I wait for her to pass the leg. When it's passed, I can lead a front step and a forward ocho. So it's really front step and a forward ocho. That's the lead. What creates the boleo is that I add a little bit of extra rotation at the end of the ocho. So I could do just a normal ocho.
There, I just crossed my leg as an embellishment.
Or what I do is I add a little bit of extra rotation and I also use my wrist on her back. Maybe you can see it, let's see. Here I add a little bit of extra rotation and then I use this palm on her back to give this helps give the last impulse, pushing with the back of my palm, boom. And then I wait for the leg to come back. As it comes back, I take that energy and I reverse the pivot so that she ends up in front of me. So forward ocho, plus a little bit extra, and then as the leg comes round, I simply pivot her facing me, and then we can go up.
Okay.
And if you want to do the boleo leaders, you want to time it so you get there at the same time.
Okay. So we will show the step just a couple more times.
I think that was all the questions for today, so we'll show the step.
From the toes and raise.